Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my partner, Patrick Mooney. We are your Cubs beat writers over at The Athletic. Patrick, the Cubs sure have picked a bad time to have their worst stretch of the season. I guess you could argue they've played worse baseball at different points over the course of the season. But context-wise, Tuesday was felt like the worst loss of the season. You blow a 6-1 lead. Honestly, that's not even the worst part of it. We should just get right to it. Cade Horton left after the third inning with what turned out to be back tightness. And as someone that I was at the game as a fan with my kids, my son was really excited to see Cade Horton pitch. So he's like telling me every 2 minutes, can you find out what happened to Cade Horton? What happened to Cade Horton? I'm pretty sure that was emblematic of the entire Cubs fandom during that moment. Not utter disaster. You didn't leave with a shoulder aching or elbow aching or an oblique. This sounds like they dodged something. I think I said the same thing a month ago about Kyle Tucker.
Yes.
So what were the vibes? What were the vibes like in the post-game session with Counsell, with Horton, and what is your understanding of what's happening right here?
Apparently the Cubs have had an illness running through their clubhouse. Counsell indicated that several players were sick in Cincinnati. I guess you could also note the Cubs had their big clinching celebration last week in Pittsburgh before heading to Cincinnati. That's just an aside. That is not what Counsell said. But Horton had been coughing and that he did not feel any symptoms while throwing, say, Sunday and Monday. It was like a bullpen and kind of a regular throwing session on the day off before his start, but that as he got into the game, Horton said he felt some stiffness in his back and some tightness in the rib area, and that breathing, particularly deep breathing, became harder, and just that everything sort of tightened up on him, and that Counsell said it made no sense to push it. Horton says he would absolutely pitch through it if it was a playoff game. He said he has no doubts about his ability to get ready for a playoff start, which we had been assuming was game one. Maybe it's game two. Certainly the Cubs aren't going to announce it now, given that, and also just the fact that the Padres are still on their heels here and home field advantage has not been locked up. So yeah, I think your son was like everyone in the press box. Like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah. In fact, I looked up and I saw like the pitching change graphic, and I wasn't really like looking at the mound, and I was like, why are they doing that? That's a mistake. Like, that was last inning for the Mets. Like, why do they have that graphic up? And then I looked down and I was like, wait, what is happening right now? And just my mind went to like, are they being extra aggressive here with like shortening his outing and getting him ready for the playoffs? I'm like, that's kind of insane if that's what they're doing. Like, he's still gonna need to win games. And I'll tell you this, the way he's pitching and the way he looked after those first two batters, they win that game with him out there. There's no doubt in my mind he's pitching so well. He looks so good out there. And I also believe him when he says he'd be ready to go if it's a playoff game, because he seems like that type of guy where, you're going to have to drag him off the mound in those situations. That's just the vibe I get from him. That's how coaches talk about him. That's how his teammates talk about him. He's a tough guy. So I guess there, it sounds like it's fine. I just don't know if we can feel good about it until we see him on the mound, or they say, yes, he's starting game one. And even then you want him to, go deep into the game. I do. Here's how I take away what I take away from Tuesday. There's two big bad things. The loss, obviously, because your lead in the wild card is down to 1.5 games, two in the loss column, uh, and Cade Horton's injury. Like those are the two things. All the stuff that happened from the third inning on, I'm not taking too much away from, because in all likelihood, if you get injured in the postseason, if someone gets hurt, like those aren't things you can like account for and say like or predict or anything like that. So I'm trying to look at it in terms of how the Cubs are playing. I like you didn't want like Taylor Rogers likely isn't going to pitch big innings in the playoffs. If it gets to that point, something's gone awry. The offense does seem like it was the Reds that were stifling them and not the other way, not like the offense is a mess. I think it was really good to see the offense put up 7 runs, 9 or 10 hits, I believe. You want to see them hit the ball out of the park a little bit more. That is, if you are looking for a silver lining, I think the offense looks pretty good right now. Nico Horner is just like a hit machine. Really impressive at bats. Ian Happ continues to hit the ball hard. I think it was a good sign to see Seiya Suzuki hit a ball hard up the middle, because when he came up, I was like 2 outs, like this threat is kind of over. That's the way he's been going. There were just some things that happened that, I don't think are you worried about Caleb Thielbar? Like, it's almost like, okay, he gave up his runs for the for the next 6 weeks.
Sahadev, life is too short to worry about Caleb Thielbar, right? I mean,
yeah.
he's been really, really good.
Yeah, I just don't think there was much to take away from that game outside of Cade Horton's injury, and the Padres are creeping. What I would say to Cubs fans, like if the Cubs are like losing 5 in a row, it's not ideal timing. But a week ago they were on a 7-1 run. Like this stuff changes quickly. So I don't know what they're going to look like from the playoffs. Here are the things that need to happen. They need to play well over the next 5 games and somehow win 3 of them. If they can win 2, that probably gets them into the top seed. Like it's just I just don't see the Padres reeling off like a huge run here. I could be completely wrong, because a week ago they were reeling. So baseball is weird, like impossible to predict. The Cubs need to win some games against some 2 young, really talented arms that are going to be going for the Mets these next 2 nights. So not an ideal situation. They still control their destiny. Focus has to be on the health of their players. We're going to get to another Kyle Tucker update later in this show. Cade Horton's back is all that really matters right now. He is their best pitcher. You need Matthew Boyd to bounce back tonight, because it feels like a big game. You just need a win. Just get a win. End this streak. Move on. Like that's kind of how the mentality needs to be. I don't think anything else that happened in that game needs to be analyzed much more, because the Cade Horton story is just like all that matters, and where you are in the wild card standings.
I mean, you know how quickly I moved on, Sahadev? I booked a hotel for San Diego after the game.
I was going to say,
chatting with another writer who I will not name, that idea came up, and it was a good one. just to have myself covered. I can still cancel it. But yeah, it's wild how the Cubs have managed Horton so conservatively that there was this thought of maybe they just took him out after 3 innings. Like, but that was clearly not the case. And I think you're right. That game turns out differently if he gives them probably 2 more innings. Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have pushed him much beyond that. Horton said pitch-wise he felt great. I mean, Francisco Lindor, leadoff hitter, put one in the bleachers. But otherwise, he just gave up a single to Juan Soto. No walks, once again showing just his control, command, composure, all of those things. So, it sounded relatively optimistic post game. His blister didn't become a thing. I thought that was going to become a thing. That was in August. And definitely his attitude and mentality, like he's going to be pushing for that. But like Council said, I have to see how it goes this week.
Yeah, we may need to book tickets for or hotels for LA as well, because I think the Padres are only I think they have the same record as the Cubs, the Dodgers too. So we don't know where we're going to be next week. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break and talk more Cubs when we come back.
FT fam, Superpower believes that every human has 100-year potential, and they're going to help you get there. I like the sweatshirt, Eric Kratz, and I also love the way that Superpower takes care of its members.
Yeah. You go get your lab test, you become the best you. You be a member of this group, and your test will come back. It's unlocking things that you didn't know about yourself. This is stuff that players used all the time. You can do it now too.
Exactly, Kratz. How many of you have gone to a doctor's appointment? You get the classic, oh, you're fine, or just drink more water. No real data, no real game plan. With one simple blood draw with Superpower and over 100 biomarkers, that is way more than what you'd usually get, and it unlocks so much more about your own body. Head to superpower.com to learn more and lock in the special $199 price while it lasts. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please make sure to mention the FT podcast to support the show. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower.
All right, Patrick. Matt Shaw talked to the media before Tuesday's loss, addressing, confirming that he was at the Charlie Kirk Memorial on Sunday. And I believe he also confirmed that he asked out of the game the day of Charlie Kirk's death. That was Wednesday in Atlanta. So, just more reporting on that, more confirmation on that. And finally we hear from him, and he shared, I guess, the history behind their friendship and how they became friends, and, what values they share.
To set the scene for our listeners, the media was allowed into the clubhouse Tuesday afternoon, and within a few minutes, Matt Shaw was at his locker. He turned around and said, yeah, got a couple minutes. And all of a sudden there was a relatively big group around him. He did not sound defensive at all. Most of the questions were just confirming his relationship with Kirk, his thought process, and how this came about. And the first takeaway was, okay, what was the extent of their relationship? And Shaw said they met this past offseason while living in the same Arizona complex. Kirk, who grew up in suburban Chicago, graduated from Wheeling High School, is a very big Cubs fan. Shaw said Kirk would text him basically after every game. Obviously, he visited Wrigley Field this summer. That photo was widely circulated, particularly after his death. That night in Atlanta, Shaw said it hit him, and he couldn't really describe it, but just felt that he wasn't ready to play that night. He did eventually enter that game, and he declined to speak to reporters. You were there in Atlanta, Sahadev, through the club's media relations department. And
yep.
It was important for Shaw to explain this. I think I've seen some comments. I've tried not to look at too many of the comments, but of like, why are you writing about this again? Well, to be fair, you have to ask Matt Shaw his thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Why was it a story in the first place? Well, he missed a game in the middle of a pennant race, and his absence was even noted by Terry Francona, the Reds manager. He did not know why he wasn't there, but he found it curious that Council did not use a pinch runner from Moises Ballesteros in the ninth inning of a 1-0 game. And so Matt Shaw spoke very calmly, directly about his friendship with Charlie Kirk. Kirk's wife, according to Shaw, asked him to attend this memorial service where Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, addressed an NFL stadium-sized crowd on Sunday while the Cubs were in Cincinnati. And so Shaw was asked about the backlash. He said, I'm okay with that, that his relationship with Kirk, he said, was based on their faith, that it was a religious-based relationship. And another reporter mentioned Trump's comments about essentially sending in the National Guard to Chicago, that Trump claimed one of Kirk's last words to him were, please, sir, save Chicago. And when that comment was relayed to Shaw, he said, I'm very comfortable here in Chicago. He said he kind of evaded it of like, look, like that part wasn't really for me. I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the exact quotes. He said the more powerful parts for him were people talking about their faith. And obviously there are lots of interpretations from there. Just looking at the comments on X, on our stories on The Athletic, people feel very strongly about this, both criticizing Shaw and also praising Shaw. I think, one thing I forgot to mention, the other day while we were talking about this was just obviously political violence is unacceptable. And I do think Matt Shaw was able to express himself and put some context around a difficult decision that was cleared by Cubs president Jed Hoyer and Cubs manager Craig Counsell.
Yeah, I think you said everything there. I'm not sure I have much to add. I'll echo your sentiments that political violence is unacceptable. I just, I completely agree with you that this was a story that had to be written. His response needed to be written.
Yep.
What happened on Sunday needed to be written. Like these are things. This is our job. Like we have to put this information out there. We don't love wading into topics that get out of the sports arena, but this is part of it. This happens, and it is a topic that is going to lead to a lot of angry comments, and that certainly was the case. It certainly has been the case. We understand you guys want us talking baseball. We will get right back to Patrick.
I just want to add one thing in terms of like Charlie Kirk coming to Wrigley Field and posting a photo with Matt Shaw and Michael Busch, like in our eyes, did not meet the threshold of newsworthiness. That to us was not really a headline, but the events of the last several days were just sort of no doubt stories. And I think Cubs fans benefited from hearing Matt Shaw directly, and then everyone can kind of draw their own conclusions and move on.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk more baseball when we come back after this break.
Todd Father, you and me grew up in Jersey. We liked to collect cards, but the way the process got was ridiculous. You open up a pack. There's a bunch of cards you don't care about. Then you want to get certain ones graded. Takes forever, right? Then you want to maybe sell one. It's such a to-do. Arena Club has been the solution for us.
Arena Club has been a solution for everybody. You go online, go to Arena Club, and you check out what they have. Put a little cash down, and you might get one of the best cards that you've ever seen in your life, an autographed card. And guess what? If you don't like the card, easily you could sell it back and make a little cash. You never know what to expect. It's a cool way of doing it. You're going to get a surprise every time. And if you're into cards, this is something you really need to get into.
Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul and use code FOUL, like Todd Father's talking about with those slab packs. Every pack has a grail that's at least 20x the price of the pack. Check it out.
Here it is, Patrick. Our daily, our episodically timed Kyle Tucker update. This one is a very real update in the sense that Tucker spoke. He is back from Tampa. Look, this morning I watched all the all the stuff, all the pregame stuff. I'm not sure if Kyle Tucker is the most emotive person we've talked to. It's really hard to read him, so you just kind of got to go off what he's saying, and it's hard to get like context clues beyond that. I think sometimes with guys you can kind of tell like beyond the words what's going on. I can't read anything beyond what's going on with Kyle Tucker. What did you hear when you were there at Wrigley yesterday?
I think your observations, Sahadev, also sort of line up with the Cubs organization of just like, there isn't a lot of history there. And to your point, Tucker is just such a mellow, even-keeled personality that you can't really read that much into it, which is fine. I mean, maybe maybe he does kind of like a Schwarber and he just like barely gets any warm-up time and just starts raking in the playoffs. He's at least progressed to running again. That started Monday, and then Tuesday there was some agility work on the bases. That is progress. Tucker explained why he moved his treatment program to Tampa, saying that physical therapy group in Florida near his off-season home has been working with him for like 10 years, meaning they have snapshots of him, from the winter, from his injury last year with the Astros, that fractured shin, which was not an issue at all when he came back last September and had an amazingly productive month. I think coming back as a designated hitter before playing the field is realistic. Tucker said throwing and hitting feel pretty normal. It's just pushing it on the bases. He's not quite there yet. To amend something I said in our last episode, I asked Tucker, like, if today was a playoff game, could you DH? And he hesitated and said, well, it's a hypothetical, which I understand. He doesn't have to enter that. He still had a week to go at that point, but he wasn't quite sure. It was certainly different from what we heard from Cade Horton later. And obviously there are different situations, different personalities. I don't think either one of those are like determinative answers, but we'll see. I still have a hard time envisioning him not coming back, but like Council said, there's some urgency here. It really is truly a day-to-day, episode-to-episode situation.
I'm just looking at his September last year. He slashed 365, 453, 587. Obviously, that was like 3 months away from baseball, and a more significant injury. This is a guy that, I think he can. I don't think he needs a ton of time. I think you'd like to get 2-3 games in. I didn't, from what I saw, I didn't get the feeling that he's going to be activated today. We record on a Wednesday. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if it happens, in the sense like he comes to the ballpark, he goes through his routine, and he's like, I feel great, let's get this started. But my guess is that's not happening today. You just hope he's back by the weekend. And if he's not, I guess you just throw him in the fire for the wild card series if he's good to go for that, because I think you need him. I don't think I'm stating anything too crazy there. The offense has looked better, like I said earlier in this episode. I do believe that they're looking better overall. Hopefully they're not. I mean, not hopefully, they're not facing the Reds right away. So the Reds and the Phillies are the two teams that I think in the NL that you say like, oof, that pitching, that's gonna be a problem. You want to be in a groove, and you're gonna need to match their pitching type thing. If it gets to that point. Or right now, it's just get healthy, and that's a lot of times at this point in the season, when you're in, that's all that matters. And it really feels like that's all that matters for the Cubs. Yes, home field advantage would be great, but get Cade Horton healthy, get Kyle Tucker healthy, and then see where everything goes from there. Like whether they're playing in San Diego, in LA, or at Wrigley Field, whoever they're playing, I don't think it really matters anymore. Just get healthy and play baseball. That's where I'm at right now. Whether they go into it losing a bunch of games in a row or 8 and 9, whatever. I just don't think any of that matters. Just perform when it matters.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my brain around the idea of having to go to LA. I was not
sorry.
Like that would just be, like the Dodgers, the air quotes best team ever, finishing in second place in their division, and like obviously this is the time of year where we're starting to gather material for the big stories for the playoffs, storing away information. We have to prepare as if we're going to be writing stories through Game 7 of the World Series. And it seems like just as soon as I start collecting material on the Padres, the Dodgers start fading. I have a bunch of good interviews banked on Cade Horton. Haven't even transcribed him yet, and then he gets pulled after 3 innings. So I am not complaining. It's more just as you were talking there, Sahadev, my mind just went somewhere else. So like you said, things change quick. I mean, the tone could be different next time we talk.
Yeah, we'll see where they're at. They need some wins, calm down this fan base, just kind of settle things down, and they should, this. I think here's one thing that I haven't really said, we haven't really talked about. This team has responded all season long.
Yeah,
they really have. There have been moments where we're like, both you and I are like, oof, this is getting bad. Oh, this is the moment. Well, it's here. This is probably the toughest it's going to get, or could, regular season wise, the toughest it's gotten. Bad timing. How do they respond? What type of performance? 2 young pitchers back to back. Do their veteran studs step up, Shota and Matthew Boyd? Does their offense perform well? Do they grind out these young kids and put up good at bats and put up some numbers? It's time to show up. Obviously, next week is when it really matters. But get some wins, get home field advantage. That'd be nice for everyone to see. We'll see what happens. Like you said, we could be talking about something very different in 2 days or whenever when we record next. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. This is Northside Territory. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.